All right, so as we come closer towards the end of this challenge, I'm going to share with you guys some more ideas. And so today what I wanted to do was take on some animals. Now, we can kind of keep going and do something similar to what we've been doing. And, you can always do something like this. Start with a circle, kind of add on a triangle here, a little triangle here, and a little swoop, a couple lines. And here, you already have this little cat sculpture. And then you can kind of just add on, build out the face or kind of dig in a little bit. But what we're going to do today is actually sculpting around. And so this I'm just kind of using as a stand to kind of set the head on. But we're going to grab a little bit of clay here and kind of make a ball. So, sort of smooth it out so we can get a somewhat decent head shape of what you're looking for. And I'm just going to kind of set it up here to kind of, so that I can have both hands to kind of work on it with. And what I'm actually going to do is, I'm not sure what this is going to turn into, but we're going to start out with just these big eye openings. And then add a little bit over here because I'm noticing it's not the same. It's not the same as the other side. So just trying to fix the symmetry on that. Push in a little bit here for the brow. And actually, because it was just recently Easter, I'm going to turn this into a little bunny character. Now what you see me doing here with these ears is just adding in a really quick shape. So some of my other pieces, if I'm deciding, as I'm creating the character and figuring out what I want to do, sometimes I'll be like, do I want, would it look cool if I had like some little ears, or maybe this character needs like big, like gremlin or goblin ears. But what I usually do is I'll add on a quick shape like this, and then I'll keep working on it. And what that does is it allows me to look at it as I'm working on the piece. And I'll notice, does this work? Does it not work? Because the worst thing to do is to add this on, really detail it out, finish it up, and then come back and look at and finish designing your character and realize, this just doesn't work. And now that's a lot of wasted time. Whereas if I look at a small ear and a big ear, I can kind of glance at it and just say, yes, this works, or yes, I like that, and then later on go in and finish it out. So we're going to add just a little bit of clay here to the front. Just kind of add a little bit to this snout area. Go down. Let me switch the camera angle just a little bit. And so we're going to add on just a little bit underneath the cheek here. Kind of lift it up so you guys can see. And a little bit for the jaw. It'll kind of all blend together for this character. But just add in a little bit there. And I'm going to do the same to this other side here. So where add in a little bit to kind of round out that cheek. And add in a little bit for the jaw. And just kind of blend that together. Then in the front you can either add on like a little ball of clay, or like a little triangle of clay for the nose. And for the, I'm actually going to add to thicken up the brows just a little bit here, just to give it a little bit more character. And I'm going to go ahead and build out this body. So I'll show you how I usually create for some of my little hero characters, or some of the little characters I'll create. You can always come in with like an armature or something. A lot of people do something super complicated or a little bit more than I believe is needed. But what I like to do is I just build pieces out of clay. So for example, for this, we're going to do a square or a cube for the hips. I'll do kind of a rectangle for the torso. I'm not going, because it's kind of going to be a big furry animal, I'm not going to do, you know, like I would like a human. I would do like maybe it would be a little bit almost like more of a triangle, more of a rib cage shape. But I'm just going to add on this, and then the way that bunny rabbits and animals have their legs is it's kind of rounded here, cuts back, cuts down a little bit for their ankle area, and then their foot is here. And so what I'm actually going to do is add this big shape, just a big circle right to the side. Well, actually, I can actually, because this actually overlaps this a little bit, and so actually I can add that shape. I'm going to, actually that might be an okay size for that, for the legs. So let's go ahead and do that and try to make both of them the same size. The feet I'll add a little bit more volume on later. Make sure that one is a little wider on here. But we're just kind of doing placement here, right? And then a couple of worms of clay for the arms. And then a little bit for the neck. Now what you see here is almost like a little balloon animal, to where it's really simple and I didn't spend a lot of time on it. And the reason is because I still haven't figured out exactly what I want the character to be. So from here you can see, look, I made a bunny. However, how interesting is that to you? You know, with this, it's almost like an action figure, and now I can play around with it. I can kind of switch things around, kind of have him looking over his shoulder. With that, his body will shift this way. His arm might come down here to kind of help brace himself. Something like that. Might have to shift his back a little bit. And so he's kind of crouching down. One thing that this will do that, you know, it's good to do with, especially without an armature, or at least without a heavy or strong armature. Like if you were doing a human character, you could always use a really simple armature, something like this that is super flexible. But try not to use something that once you kind of make it, you can't change the pose, because there's a lot of discovery in this and finding something new. The other thing that's amazing about this is gravity is working here. So if I were to kind of put his head too far out, it'll fall out. If I didn't shift him back a little bit before, he was starting to tip over. And so what you're going to do is you're going to find that this is a great way to kind of make him balanced on his own. You know, we all know how balance and how gravity works, you know, within ourselves, because, you know, if you start tipping over, you might, you know, put out one arm a little bit farther than the other to kind of balance yourself out. or when you're trying to balance on one foot, your weight shifts in a certain way. And so all you're doing is taking that knowledge and putting it into this. And so, I mean, honestly, this is kind of looking like a bunny, but like a golem bunny, you know, protecting his ring. But it's kind of an interesting thing. I'm going to kind of, I'm not sure if I want to do that or not with this. I'm actually going to have them shift to this side a little bit more. That side out and this side across a little bit. Yeah, maybe something along the lines of that. What I'm going to do now is take the head off and kind of also take the arms off. And now that you have this basic structure, now you can kind of fill in and add some meat and muscle to, you know, the legs, define the pelvis area. You know, with this tool I can kind of come in and just round out the back of the legs to where it connects with the hip. I'm going to have to add a little bit more clay to the back to kind of round this out, just because he's hunched over. And so we'll be looking at something like that. Come in here and round this out, bring this in. I'll add a little bit more clay to the front for the feet so that they're a little bit longer. Get this out of the way, and actually I can actually lift him up to kind of work on this inside part here and kind of blending the hips into the leg. All right, and do the same thing with this side. And this is all about just defining some of the anatomy and the structure. But we already have kind of exactly what we want to do, the character, the pose. Now it's just a matter of making all the muscles and the forms and kind of making it look like they should. Here, I'm going to add just a little bit out here to kind of build out the shoulders, just a little bit. Add a little bit more for the neck as that got kind of pressed in a little bit. This arm I'm actually going to have come in the inside and kind of go up against the leg. But again, this is just, basically we have a really super simple like skeleton. Now we're just adding on the muscles and the skin or the flesh to this. There we go. Do that. Now I'm actually going to go ahead and put this head back on. I actually feel like maybe he needs a little bit longer of a neck. So, like that. And then, do like this big ball that's just going to go right here at the back. Kind of look at them from a few different angles, and there's going to be things that pop out to you and you need to fix. However, this is a quick and fun little bunny character. And this is something that can be sculpted fast. And here's the thing, this can be used as something just to kind of see what comes out, have fun. This could be a sketch that turns into, you know, that you're doing for character design and playing with poses, and can turn into a maquette for if you want to do another piece or a larger piece. And this can also, you know, I could decide, you know what, I really like the way that this is looking, so I'm going to actually keep going and really turn this into something. So these are all the different options that you have with creating this character, but I think the best part is just having fun and really seeing what you can come up with, and especially taking on that idea of the action figure and finding that balance. I'm actually going to show you a piece that I had to struggle to kind of find the balance. This is a giraffe character, little hero. The other arm just needs to be glued on. But this is a giraffe character that I created for Skylar, for one of my little heroes. And the issue I was having with this one is I wanted a larger head because it's kind of like a cute animal creature with a smaller body. But the other thing is it has a longer neck. So not only is it a larger head, you know, like this, but it's also a lot higher up. So you have that balance issue. So what I did with this one was he only had the legs that he was trying to balance on. So I added on, not only did I add on this base, but I also used the tail to kind of anchor him down in the back. So now he has 3 points of connection. And the tail is back here pulling him back and connecting him down here, while his head is heavy, and especially heavy towards the front. So he was tipping over, but what I did was, with connecting that tail, that kind of pulled this part back. And of course with the base, it actually connected all of them together. So that's what I'm talking about when you create this. It'll help you with that balancing act, whereas, you know, sometimes you got to keep an eye on that a little bit more if you decide to make this really strong armature that'll hold it up in whatever pose it is, whether they're tipping over or not. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. Get creative, have some fun, create your own little animals and characters, and just see what comes out.